excited. So I always say hi everybody, but we have been here for an hour, so. Hi Bryce. I can say that to you. But as I always said, we're happy to be here, and every time I think the Bible study get a little bit more intense, and we get more into class, so that's good. And yesterday I was telling the church that sometimes we don't, God promised something to us, but we want to help God to, we cannot do that. We can't do that. For example, everybody knows that I am a grandma now. Yay. So 3 years ago, I was in a retreat, and this lady came to me. I wasn't thinking about anything. I just was praying, and this lady came and said, God wants you to know that you're going to see your grandson. 3 years ago. And we get a little bit anxious. I said, I'm going to be there. I want to see her. But, it was 1 year, and I didn't see anything. The second year is coming. So I start saying, God, I know you promised me this, but I'm okay if somebody decided to have no children. Look my mentality. God promised me something. Why I doubt? He promised me that. And sometimes we do that. We don't believe. And I always tell you guys, we need to believe. We need to believe. Our life, at least mine, depends on my faith. If I don't have faith, I cannot move. I can't. And if you think about it, your life is completely full of faith, because, for example, if you get into your car, you have faith that when you turn the key, it's going to turn on. You believe that that's going to happen. That's faith. But we cannot have faith in God. We have faith in everything else, but not in God. We need to put our faith. I said I'm going to put I'm going to let faith go a little bit farther for me. Because sometimes we doubt. We're humans. Our flesh doesn't like to believe in something that you cannot see, because that's the difficult part of faith. You are believing in something that you don't see. I didn't see my grandson for 3 years, but we need to believe. So the first song that we're going to sing is Yes, I Know. And as I say, yes, I know that God has my life and your life and our life and Veteran Church life in His hands. So we need to believe in that, okay? So Facebook, we don't have the right for the music. second song is Great Hope, Great God. I always tell you how great God is, but we visit the Salvation Army church for the past 2 Sundays, and this Sunday they were talking with the director of the band. They have a band there, and they were talking about me because I play the flute and the clarinet, and you know. So the guy came to me and I started talking to him, and I said that I was very blessed when they start playing here. They're professional musicians. When those people start playing those instruments, I told him I go back to my music school when I studied music, because it sounds wow. And something that hit me pretty hard when I was talking to this guy. He's a professional musician. When I was telling that to him, he said, "It's not me, it's God. It's the great God that I have, that we serve." And he was so humble that I was like, oh my God. Because he played, I don't know how many instruments of the ones that he had over there. It's not only one.
Plus he directs.
Yeah, he's the director. And it's amazing. He's recognizing that without that great God, he is nobody. He is nothing. So we need to learn that from a lot of people. You know, it sometimes it's so difficult to be humble, but we need to be humble. So let's see.
This is my great hope. You are press on. I was sharing with the church yesterday, and I shared with the Bible study group. What has been going on for the past week and a half, 2 weeks. And I felt so happy when I shared the news with Linda and Bobby of what's been going on, that Linda went, "What are you talking about, Willis?" I felt happy. The applesauce is looking at me like I'm crazy because when we sat for the interview, they asked us, well, talk to us about your ministry. And I said, no. You're going to tell me why you opened this door for us. I'm like, nope. And Pete's upset because I told Casey not to tell him. He actually called me, "What's the good news?" I said, "No, when you come back to church, you'll find out." Y'all have heard me talk about when Peter walked on water. Y'all have heard me say till we're tired, blue in the face, that the storm never stopped. The storm never stopped. But I pulled the Peter in these days. I pulled the Peter in these days because I started looking at our history. 8 years of blow after blow. 8 years of hopes going sky high and then be dashed against the rocks. 8 years of I think I can, and having somebody tell me, no you can't. And I was foolish, I was dumb, I was even, you could say, stupid. Because when the Lord opened the door, and I want to echo the words of my wife, not mine. When my wife said, if he opened this door, he's not going to slam it in your face. But still, I'm thinking, I'm going to put my fingers on the frame of the door, and then the door's going to shut on my fingers. And that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, because the thing is that the human part of me has never left me. I'm still flesh and blood. I still question. I still get concerned. I still get frustrated. I still get depressed. I still have nightmares and whatnot. A whole lot of myriad of stuff that tells me that I'm still human and I'm still here. But this is the big but that I wasn't counting on. But my human condition does not take away from his holy condition. Regardless of how frail I am, regardless of how confused I am, regardless of, I don't know about this, that I think, that still does not change who God is. And the thing is that y'all have heard, again, going back to Peter. Peter walked on the water in the middle of the storm. The time when Peter stopped walking on the water, when he sank, was when he looked at the waves that were coming his way. And you think, I would, if I was walking on water and kept my eyes on Jesus, I'm gonna keep on. Yeah, right. But you're not Peter, and you weren't in that situation. So yeah, it's real easy to play Monday night quarterback from the comfy of your living room. It's real easy to play quarterback. You know, hey, I would have made a better pass. Yeah, but you're not playing. So, come on, give it up. So, in it and in the situation, I felt, bogged down by everything that has happened. The word that I forgot was has happened in the past. Right there. What happened in the past, I brought it to the present. Not because it was here, because it's not. But I brought it to today. Even though it's years have gone by over what has happened to us and what has transpired to us. Our mind, and when we're talking in Bible study about renewing our mind and whatnot, and having and taking the mind of Christ and assuming that personality, it's not as easy as people think it is. I've been walking this walk for a bit, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that when this door opened, I did a Gideon. I'm like, is it really you? Well, if it's really you, okay, give me a sign. When you would think, like Porkchop says, well, nothing else worked, so this would work. And I'm like, okay. But that is true. Many times situations occur in our lives that cause us, even when it's God moving, cause us to doubt God. Not because the devil is attacking us, but it's our own insecurities, our own lack of confidence, our own lack of belief in that God is doing it that causes us to call God a liar when God already made a promise. That's why today's message, we titled it, Lord, you are the Lord of the battle. Help me press on. See, because the battle's not going to stop. Whatever it is that we're fighting, you, me, or anybody, that's not going to stop. But we as children of God need to understand that the battle belongs to the Lord. And since the battle belongs to the Lord, He's never lost. So He's not going to start doing it now. So what we have to do in the midst of the fighting, in the midst of the battle, in the midst of all the attack, all the noise that's threatening to drown out what God wants to do in our lives or do it for us, instead of letting all that, we keep pressing on. Pressing on. I remember back in the day, I think the last, we had a couple of charges and bases overrun in Afghanistan and Iraq. But the last, you remember the Civil War movies where you had the drummer out front and then you had the guidon bearer. And that guidon never touched the ground. If the guidon bearer was shot, somebody picked it up and kept moving forward. And the thing is that the ones behind, the soldiers of the company, the soldiers of the platoon, of the brigade, as long as they saw that guidon moving forward, even though the battle was still going on, they kept moving forward. They couldn't see the guy that was carrying it. Or they could see that little piece of fabric flapping in the wind yards ahead of them, and they kept going forward. And when a charge was being made, remember the movies with the old cavalry charges? The guy on the horse with the guidon, he was the first one out. He was the first one leading the charge, and everybody else followed. Back in basic training, I don't know if they did this when Casey went through basic training, But back in basic training in my year, when we had the brigade commander's run, he always wanted to run, and he was a marathon runner, so he could run. And I remember it was Nesbitt. He was always our guide and care bearer. He was always Nesbitt. He was always the guide and bearer. And Colonel Rojas was running us into the ground. He was running us into the ground. And I remember Nesbitt. I don't know if he got mad. I don't know if he got upset. But all of a sudden, Nesbitt at the front of our platoon starts yelling at the top of his lung, and that joker waved that guide on for 4 miles. He didn't just carry it at Port Arms. No, he was waving that thing and yelling at the top of his lung. And we, hey, monkey see, monkey do. We were yelling at the top of our lungs too. We thought we were going to kill somebody. But we made it to the end. We had to carry Isaac because his knees swelled up. We helped each other along so none of us would fall out. But because of what Nesbitt did, we finished the race strong. It's not about that it's not going to hurt. It's not about that what you have faced in the past, you're going to forget it because of what's in front of you. No. But what we have to bear in mind, Pastor, first, is that what God said, He will fulfill it. If He promised it, it's going to happen. If He opened a door, He's going to keep it open so that we can walk through it onto the next phase, the next level. Why? It's not going to stop anything that's going on. But the thing is that as long as He's walking out in front of us, and we know that for sure He's the one that opened the door, and that before anybody walks through the door, He walks through it first, that door will remain open until we can walk on through it, no matter what we're facing. See, we serve in the best army of the world. Our commander-in-chief has never lost. And even though the battle's still raging on right now, how is this battle going to end? How does the story end? Y'all don't know how the story ends.
We're going to be victorious.
We win. We win because He won. It's just a matter of time before we see the victory. But the victory is ours because He won it first. He fought the fight first. But the thing is that we, at times, servant included, forget the fact that God is the God of the battle. Regardless of what it is that we're facing. Regardless of how many obstacles we've had to overcome over 8 years. Regardless of how many doors were slammed shut in our faces over 8 years. Regardless of how many people have said you should not exist. Regardless of whatever has happened throughout these 8 years, we have to know and we have to internalize that He did not bring us this far to let us fail. The Bible tells us in the book of Psalms chapter 62 verse 5, rest in God alone. It doesn't say rest in what I know. It doesn't say rest in what Bobby told me. It doesn't say rest in what Tita already may suggest. It doesn't say rest on what my wife says. Pork chop, applesauce, KC, Simba, or even Bryce says. Do not rest on that. Rest on God alone. When we rest on God alone, we are at peace. even though the battle is raging around us, close to us, because we know who is the Lord of the battle. And the thing it says, for my hope comes from him. Many times, servant included, we want to help God, like my wife was saying. So I came to the church yesterday that after the last blow that we got, where we thought we had this building, and then nope, psych. And then the Lord tells me the following Sunday, be still, don't do nothing. Relax, don't do nothing. And I'm like, okay. But I was looking at blueprints. I was looking at properties. I wasn't calling the realtor. But I was looking. Someone was telling me, Ken, God told you to be still. I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm just getting a plan ready for when God says go. The problem is, as I was sharing with the church yesterday, is that God has a plan A. I'm trying, because that's the type of person I am, I'm trying to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm trying to figure out all the contingencies. But the problem is that I forgot the fact that God's plan A is it. That's no more. That's it. That's the plan. I can try to be like Jonah. I either do what God says, or I take off in another direction and try to do something else. What's going to happen is that God, in no uncertain way, and not very nice, he's going to take me back to this is what I want. And I was sharing with the Bible study group the fact what happened yesterday. Our friend Jimmy doesn't speak. And I'm saying something along the lines of what I'm saying right now. Jimmy's hand shoots up to ask permission to speak, like Pork Chop does with a prayer. But before I gave him permission, or I told him, what do you need? He says, Pastor, you can't do that because you're making God a liar. I had to take a step back and, okay, the Lord has spoken. And you will say, oh, well, that's something that happened. No, CC, if you know Jimmy, Jimmy comes in, Jimmy says hello, and he leaves with his wife. So, the Lord used the most humblest one here to tell me, like I said, in not a nice way, cut it out. Cut it out. You're pissing me off. Even my wife is going, yeah. So, I've resolved that I'm going to wait. It's killing me. It's killing me not to have an alternate plan. You ain't gonna lie. But the battle is the Lord's. Psalms 121 says, I will lift my eyes up unto the hill. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who created heaven and earth. So, I'm going to believe that word. We're going to believe that the Lord has opened the door and we're going to walk through it, and we're going to go to a next level. Somewhere where probably we never thought we'd ever be. And see things and start doing things that are totally different from how we've been doing things up to this moment. God didn't call us to be scaredy cats. You look at the great men of faith in the Bible, you will always see that they were men full of courage. Because they knew who was with them. Many times we talk about having God on our side, but we don't even know who God is. And God has to take something extraordinary so that we start seeing. I was telling my wife, because my wife said, no, God has to do something extraordinary, amazing, so that Veterans Church starts seeing that God is real. I said, no, not just Veterans Church, but I have to remember the God that I serve too. I'm not perfect, but I'm not by a long shot. I'm the most screwed up person here in the church. Like Paul used to say, I am the chief of the wretched. Me. And I said, but I know that what God has placed in our hands. We've always known that our calling was special. We've always known that our calling is different. We've always known that our calling is to everybody else weird. But we know that there's a world out there, brothers and sisters, veterans that need the Jesus that we know. There's a whole bunch of people, civilian, out there that have been hurt, that think that nobody cares, that feel like nothing. And we need to tell them, look, this is the man that we serve. And what he did for us, he can do it for you. So we have been called the square peg, but we need to go into the square hole. And that's where God wants us. And the only thing I can promise you is, like Socrates used to say, the only thing I know is that I don't know nothing. I need him more than ever, especially now. With what's happening right now, I need as much faith as you can muster. I need as much prayer as you can put together. Because what God is preparing, it's big, and it's going to take all of us to complete it. That's the call. The call is not for Ken. No. The call is for the congregation of Veterans Church that by default Ken is leading. The battle's going to keep on going. Insecurities are going to come. We're going to be reminded of what has happened in the past. But that does not take away from who God is. God has brought us up to this point. We've thought we've been dead in the water 3 times. 3 times. And God has pulled us out and kept us going. So, as we face this new chapter, whatever situation that you're going through, whatever situation that I'm going through right now, I wish to remind you that He is the Lord of the battle. All we have to do is hold on, because He doesn't even require us to fight. He's just telling us, be still and know that I am God. God bless.